Next, we'll take up the question from Aman Kumar Sharma. Aman, please unmute yourself and switch on your camera.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Aman.
Okay, ma'am. First of all, a very good evening, sir, and a very warm welcome to Amity University, Patna. Myself, Aman, and I'm pursuing BBA from Amity School of Business. So my question to you is that Barclays has successfully put up an initiative called Connect with Work program. Can you please tell us that how this initiative has benefited the students across the country?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good and warm afternoon to you as well. This is something that it's fantastic. I can't just express how happy I am that you picked this topic. When I entered the industry, and it could be true for Professor Ruchi and maybe Professor Pandey. Maybe I think you could recollect this. When I entered the industry, I think the prevalent norm was shareholder primacy, as in the ultimate holy grail for a company is to maximize shareholders' wealth. That's it. The other stakeholder who have, whether they were, collateral victims or they benefited, we call it in economics externalities. Yeah, whether they are positive or negative externalities, it does not matter as long as you are focused on one thing, which is that the shareholder wealth is maximized. Yeah. Now, if you talk about it like this in front of your board, you've written your resignation letter. Now it is stakeholder primacy. This is the view that beyond the company, there are other people who matter. Those could be your colleagues, employees, staff. Those could be customers, even before Amazon and its obsession with customers became famous. I think when we entered the industry, I don't think we would have survived if we weren't focused on clients. But at some point in time, when there was a trade-off to be exercised between economic gains for yourself, that is for your firm, vis-a-vis gains for your clients, you could argue, depending upon who you are, what values you had, how integrity sits with you, you could be anywhere in that fence. Yeah. So customers, colleagues, regulators, supplier partners. Now we call supplier partners. Dare anybody talk about this as vendors anymore? Yeah. So now we're talking about supplier partners or ecosystem players. So we moved from this narrow world into a broader world. And the final C is about communities, which is where this Connect to Work program comes in. So by 2050, we would be carbon neutral across our client portfolios and Barclays itself. So right now, there's lots of funding that we do for companies who are in the old energy world, who do fracking, who are in the oil industry, etc. In fact, there's been lots of protests for companies who are still supporting industries which are energy vampires, if I can say that word, than energy conscious. So coming to what you said, so one of the things that we were very clear was beyond returns, etc. One of the key metric for us in our balance scorecard would be what we do for our communities. And this Connect to Work is basically a program which tries to address both sides of the employment gap. What do I mean by that? So in India, this is true for the broader global context, but in India, this is more true, which is, I think roughly about, this is a statistics that I saw, roughly about 1 million people enter the workforce every month. Yeah. And the roles or the jobs, that is roughly a quarter of that. So, you have a huge employment gap between people entering the workforce and jobs. And even in those jobs, there are people who face a skill gap. As in, Varun spoke about this, right? I'm sorry to have, bringing him along every time, but he made some wonderful comments, right? And one of the things that he said was, I mean, it's a shame that people have aspiration to enter the financial services industry, but maybe do not know enough to manage their own finances. So, how do we skill people in a manner that they are successful in their roles? So, that's what we are trying to solve for. On one end, what we're trying to solve for is trying to ensure that people who join the workforce are job ready, the skilling thing. So we've joined the bandwagon of skilling. Uh, in our own small way, humble way. We are trying to push the wheels in such a way that people who enter the industry are more job ready than they would be otherwise. So alongside several, meaning with similar minded partners, we are working on a campaign to look at youth from typical tier 2, tier 3 cities and try and upskill them in such a way that they are job ready. And some of these numbers are staggering. And some of the stories that I hear are very humbling. It's been mind blowing. The other side of the employment gap that we're also trying to address is to make two things we are doing. One is we are trying to make people be entrepreneurs. And how are we doing it? We've got an open innovation lab called RISE. And what it does is it tries to incubate entrepreneurs and their ideas and try and scale them up into meaningful enterprises. At the top end, we have not at the very top end, I'm talking about what you would in India parlance call it as small enterprise, not micro but small enterprise. Once you've got the revenue roughly in the order of, let's say, 5 to 10 million pounds, then you're ready to go into one of our campaigns with another partner called Unreasonable, where for those entrepreneurs, we help them chart the journey from that 10 million pounds to 50 million pounds. So, what is our hope? Our hope is that by creating avenues for people to be entrepreneurs, they can create jobs. So, you're solving on the supply side and you're also solving for the demand side. I can't tell you how enthused I am and my team are on this thought. This is for us in the start. It's been last 3 years that we've been at this. Very, very encouraging. We hope to continue. COVID has been a fabulous revelation, and humblingly we were able to make, in my mind, a small contribution. So thank you for your question.
Thank
So
you so much,
beyond the
sir.
shareholders, there exists wider stakeholders who are equally important. I think that's the message you should retain. Not about Barclays and our own Connect to Work program. It's great that you asked, but the key point is think about stakeholders, think about ecosystem.
Thank you so much, sir. It was great listening to you.